All right. Welcome to the Fandemic. We are your one-stop podcast. Every week, we are going to give you all the things to level up your awesome. For starters, we will give you our weekly war report. That's right, the What's Awesome report for the week. With all the who's it's and the what's it's. If it's awesome, we got to talk about it. Once we find out what's awesome, then we're going to go into our Pre-Venge part of the episode. This is where we will tell you the stories that could have led to your favorite movies, TV shows, and so much more. It might be a list, it might be a pitch. One thing's for sure, your awesomeness will be leveled up due to this. Then, our brand new part of the episode, the verse mode. This is where Brian and I each take one character of awesome and tell you how they meet, fight, and more importantly, who would kick whose patuckas, as Leia would say. And we do not tell each other whose character is for the week. So I'm Bradley Butin, and this is my co-host.
Brian S. Dennis with the S stands for Nolan.
I like it. I like it a lot. Welcome to the Fandemic. It's been a little while. We took a break off, to be honest. I've been a little bit down. So I'm within the last couple weeks, some personal stuff came up, lost my job, all sorts of that kind of fun stuff. And, it was kind of hard to get back on track. But I think
Absolutely.
we're good now, man.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you got to do that. Again, the first thing about being awesome is knowing when it's just not been an awesome week, an awesome day. So instead of faking it, we take a little bit of time. But as always, brother, I'm here for you, anything you need. But we are back at it this week, and we're gonna have not just one kind of fun, not just two kinds of fun, but maybe three different levels of fun this evening.
I like Brian. How's your back, man? I know it's been bugging you.
Still bugging me a bit, but I will soldier on, sir, and we're gonna make it happen. Both of us had a little, hasn't been the most fun couple weeks for either one of us, but again, we are here for our listeners. We're here for each other, and we're here to always level up our awesome.
Yeah, I think we should definitely do a fancy like maybe this coming up Friday or something.
That would be a good idea. I would love that.
Yeah.
We've been remiss on some fancy lives, so we'll see if we can get one together.
Yes. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Brian, what's on your What's Awesome report for the week?
All right. So since we took last week off, we're back at it now. We're gonna kind of do a 2-4 for the What's Awesome. I just have three things, and they're probably gonna be a little bit in your field of view as well. But really, the release, and because we're able to binge stuff, we really saw what I think are three excellent series. Have at least the most recent seasons, and that were either released completely or the second part of some season or the final episodes of a few seasons. So my What's Awesome report is the conclusion of season 4 of Stranger Things and the conclusion of the third season of both The Boys and The Umbrella Academy. So those are all just fantastic shows. Brad, I don't know if you had a chance to catch up on all of them. And you really kind of went the gambit. So Stranger Things, which is probably of the three my favorite. We saw again. We saw really, I think, their best season. We saw them kind of going back to the beginning. One of the great things about Stranger Things is that, and this will matter when we talk about our bigger topic of the evening, they have a really great continuous storyline, but they also have really good seasons that if you just watch from season 1 of any season to, episode 1 of any season, till usually Stranger Things seasons are about 9 episodes to the 9th one, if that's all you watch, then it's still a great, rewarding season. The characters are continuing to be awesome. And as always, they gave us not only the victory, but victory with a cost, which, there is no such thing as total victory. So we got a lot of that. On the other side of it, we can get some thoughts from you as well. But also on the other side of that spectrum, from shows that really, while Stranger Things is definitely not G-rated, it is a thing that a lot of younger folks, teenagers, start watching. A show that definitely is not for the young or the faint of heart. We had the conclusion of the third season of The Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And then and again, and the next to the final episode of The Boys, or 2 episodes ago, Herogasm.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never unsee that.
That happened.
Never unsee that.
Oh Eddie.
There are some places you do not wear a leather jacket. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, true.
And then of course Umbrella Academy, which again I think I was edged a little bit by the boys, but Umbrella Academy third season was also just extremely good. So Brad, what are your thoughts on any of those particular
Hmm.
Umbrella Academy, The Boys, or Stranger Things?
Well, Stranger Things, 3 words come to mind: master of puppets. Um,
There's yeah,
oh boy, man. Just seeing Metallica's like response to this is just awesome. Like
mhm.
they put out a TikTok where they're all in Hellfire Club shirts.
Nice.
They are literally doing a duet with Eddie, which
Yes,
got Eddie. Like I hope you were named after Eddie Van Halen when they were
yes,
in the
absolutely.
he had to have been, right? He had to have been.
There's two. It was yeah. It would have been too perfect not to have some wink,
Right.
wink, nod, nod. Right. That had to be the inspiration. Was Van? It was Eddie. Yes,
I mean,
yes.
how many times did he jump, right? I mean,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, like I like my metal in the 80s. Like I'm not a
Okay.
huge fan of
That
like a lot of the stuff that
unapologetic. Just let's just thrash it. No redeeming social value.
you
Were,
know,
were you a power
somewhat.
ballad guy? You know
Oh, I'm very much a power ballad
where,
guy.
where's Winger? Where's Winger in your pantheon of metal, sir?
Once
You
I
know.
figured out what 17 was really about, I think that was when like, all right, Kip, buddy, um, yeah, we're not gonna pay attention to you. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Okay. You probably fall a little deeper in the metal love, but I will say, to this day, if I just hear the opening riff of Cherry Pie, no matter what I'm doing, I have to stop.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that's just a thing, and I may have done in another life the Tonic Contained slow crawl across the hood of my first car. I think I told you, my first car was a 1985 Camaro, cobalt blue. So I may have, in my somewhat underage drinking fuel days, thought I'm gonna relive the Whitesnake video, but I cast myself as Tawny. I I'm not sure why I thought that was the move for your boy,
right.
but that happened, right?
I
Zero to
mean,
him, zero
here
to
we go again.
herogasm. There,
Here we go again. Um,
yes. All right, back to the review. Stranger Things, Umbrella Academy, and The Boys.
yeah. So I haven't watched Umbrella Academy yet. That's on
Okay.
my list for this next week.
All right.
However, and I haven't watched the last episode of The Boys yet either.
Sure.
We were in Missouri all weekend,
Okay.
and I'll get into that in my war report a little bit. But man, a little bit more on Stranger Things. It is fantastic. Leia and Anna are like addicted to Stranger Things. They love it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
good there. Brian, did you have anything else you want to mention in your What's Awesome report?
Well, as always, I have my way back throwback, which again, not super far way back, but just a great movie, and I always pick something that's easy to stream.
Mm-hmm.
Usually has some over. Again, on Netflix right now. If you've not seen the remake of Get Smart with Steve Carell, Anne Hathaway, and The Rock,
Yes.
you have to do that. And by the way, how is Carell not in either the MCU or the DCU? How has he not, been drawn somewhere into that casting director, unless they've just not offered him enough money? How on
Yeah.
earth is this guy just don't even have to have powers? Just like if you rebuild Shield, that's like Nick Fury's new go-to guy. Like he
He's a
goes
new
from
Cole.
thank you. He goes from Coulson to whatever you're gonna name Steve Carell's character. If you if they rebuild Jarvis, have it be Steve Carell something. But again,
Yes.
but now we have Anne Hathaway again.
Mm-hmm.
About my bit of trick I always bring up is that she while she played Catwoman, she's never was referred to as
Yeah.
Catwoman. She's still my favorite Selena Kyle. And then of course I'm so looking forward to The Rock's turn as Black Adam, but definitely in this. So definitely, I was a huge fan of the TV show when it played on Nick at Night every night. I binged it all the time with the original 60s show, and so you definitely with Don Adams. This gave all the great nudge. Alan Arkin,
Yeah.
just it was so many great things. And again, as we both professional wrestling fans, the great Khali had a little role as one of the villains. So anyway, check it out. Way back throwback. Check out Get Smart, starring Steve Carell. All right, sir. It's on to your What's
Awesome.
Awesome report.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say the best for last in this. I've been watching Sons of Anarchy with my wife, and we are now in season 5. So good show. I've never really watched it before. I came clean about that on the last episode that we did. So we're still going pretty strong on that. Got about 2 seasons left to go. So hopefully that's gonna be over here pretty soon. Now we're talking about metal a little bit ago. There is a new animated series on Netflix called Bastards, and
Okay.
it is so like it's kind of disturbing. Okay, so like this the this like being turns into this total butt kicker when he gets kissed by a virgin maiden, and he's like 10 and then becomes yeah. So I mean, like he's got some issues right there.
Okay.
Yeah. But like all the names of the cities are like named after like metal bands. Like one is like Metallic Codus or something like that. I mean, I
Nice.
I wanted to bring it up. It's I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Give it a watch. Give it an episode. And we'll have to
Okay.
talk about it. Because it's one of those I just put on when nobody else is out, and I just kind of like do
Sure.
whatever I'm playing on my phone or and it hasn't like been disgusting enough for me to like, okay, yeah, that's too far. I mean, it's got your normal anime,
Sure.
you
Sure.
know,
Sure. Sure.
but you're like, okay,
Sure.
so this
Sure.
older girl's got to kiss this younger boy in the lips, then he becomes a super powerful being. Okay, and the name of
All
the
right.
show's Bastards. All right,
Okay. All
but the
right.
city is named after Metallica, and then, like, all right, okay, so
All right. I got one for you, sir. You saying that made me think of something that I actually forgot about my war report. So I got one
yeah,
more. And I have you ever heard the show Super Mansion?
no,
This was so under radar. It's actually an original series from Crackle, and that was really a thing. So
uh-huh.
basically, it is by Seth Green, a lot of folks that were behind Robot Chicken. This show, I'm still getting through the first season. This show, if it came out today, would be at the top of so many streaming lists. It was just before its time. So,
Hmm.
what the idea of Super Mansion is this? So, you have this guy called Titanium Rex, which is basically imagine if Hellboy was a superhero. He's this guy that has like a titanium fist. And by the way, he's at a copyright battle with like a human Tyrannosaurus Rex hybrid who's also like a cyborg. So he goes, I'm more of a titanium Rex than you are, so I want the naming right. So anyway, what basically it is that he's the head of the League of Freedom, okay? And
Okay,
the idea that he's an aging superhero who is with all these younger heroes, and basically they're just screwing with the country's budget. They can't do anything right. They've been told, like, hey, if you guys do anything that costs America any major money, we're gonna make you disband. So he's trying to hold this group together without getting too many of the spoiler. What makes it so great is it's totally in the same ilk as Robot Chicken, but it's done so well, and it talks and so many of the things that are really popular now.
yeah,
Again, when I looked, it came out like in 2017, so it takes a play on a lot of the typical archetypes. So it looks at so they have a guy named Ranger Freedom. I'm sorry, American Ranger. I apologize, American Ranger, who typically is who's a take on Captain America.
hmm
But basically, as you probably would really have with Captain America, when you go in, when you're frozen for 70 years, he's holding on to a lot of those American values
hmm
from 70 years ago. And one of the first things that he thinks Barack Obama is like a chauffeur.
oh
And,
no,
and gets mad because Obama is drinking from the water fountain because he didn't go because it's the regular water
yeah,
fountain. How dare you? They do this. This is my last. This is the only spoiler I give for the show. I actually thought my streaming service had frozen because what they do is when he basically gets mad at Obama for drinking from the water fountain,
uh-huh,
he's drug off, and there's this it's kind of claymation is the animation of the show.
yeah,
Again, very Robot Chicken. They just have the Obama standing there in shock, and they hold it for so long. I thought my stream had paused till I hit my remote and I saw the ticker. It was still going, but they sold it like he is so just taken aback. Like,
oh,
what is this? The show is stolen though. by Roboto Bot. Weird name, but
Mhm.
the idea of it again, he's meant to be kind of like the cyborg Commander Data of
Okay.
the show. But in the very first episode, he's actually asked a question that causes him an existential crisis. So throughout the show, he's trying to literally figure out who he is. So every couple shows, as his identity changes, he'll rename himself, and so the credits will adjust to that new name
I
until
like
he
it.
changes it again. It's fantastic.
Oh
So
man,
Super
Super Mansion.
Mansion, they're like 20-minute episodes. Like there's 3 seasons of it. Check it out. See, that should have been my way back throwback. Again, Super Mansion is fantastic.
I'll check that one out for sure. All right, Miss Marvel, are you up to date on Miss Marvel?
Yes, Miss Marvel was so good.
Dude,
Yes.
did you
Right.
watch Into the Badlands?
No. Well, I mean,
Okay.
I've seen it, but you mean recently? It's been a while.
Well, yeah, I mean the show's over, but I mean,
Sure.
the kid that played MK in Into the
hmm
Badlands
hmm
is Red Jagger. Yeah, right,
It
right.
is, isn't it?
Yeah. And then
Wow.
when I saw that, I'm like, that dude, that guy really should be Ezra for Star Wars. Like that should
Yes.
be Ezra for Star
Oh
Wars.
my
But
goodness. Yes. So let's and then I know we have our larger Prevenge show, but with Miss Marvel, because I was doing some thinking on this, like, okay, so we've talked before about the next time they pull together an Avenger-esque team, right?
mhm.
Um, because they will.
Yeah.
And I think, and if you've watched the last few movies and television shows that are really building to, I guess probably phase 5 by the time they get to an Avengers movie, they've already kind of laid the tracks that the ultimate big bad in this next one will most likely be Kang the Conqueror,
Mhm.
or he who remains. You know, if you don't know what that means, watch the shows, okay?
Right.
Uh, but they're really building that. I think Doctor Strange is going to be a new leader, definitely setting him and really bringing in the aspects of magic and the multiverse. So a quick tangent. Who do you see being? Just give me 3 people. Give me 3 people you think are going to be in the Avengers movie that we've not seen before. Who are new? Who are additions to the team?
Well, I don't think it's gonna be Avengers, actually. I think it's gonna be like a Secret Wars type thing.
Sure.
But I think that the names is gonna be. I don't think we're gonna get the big thing until we get X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Okay.
So I think we're gonna have like mini big things, but I don't
Okay.
think it's gonna be. I don't think we're gonna get like a new Avengers or Young Avengers or anything like that. And I think if we
Okay.
do, it'll be like in a TV series. It'll be like a Disney Plus
Okay.
thing.
All right. So you don't think you don't see them deploying a new team, Sans, Cap, Iron Man, Black Widow, at all. You don't think they go that route.
I hope they would. I would love to see them do a new Avengers, but I think that's what I don't think they put enough credit to Sam Wilson and what's the new Black Widow's name? I can't Yolana.
Yeah.
I don't think that they give them enough credit. I don't think that
Okay.
they cannot hold as much as Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr. in that. So
Yeah.
I don't think they go that way.
Okay, all right, which is fair. As I've keep because again I've also been re-binging a lot of the shows and stuff.
Mhm.
So you look at it again, and I look for what's the kind of universal thing, which is number one, Carmitage. Like so much of the new universe stuff is happening there. So you have Strange and Wong as the Sorcerer Supreme. He's training
Yeah.
America Chavez. We also have Wong with connection with Shang-Chi.
Mhm.
We've got Abomination there. When you look at mysticism, you can definitely, with the idea of mysticism and the gods, you can draw in Moon Knight really
Mhm.
easily there. You could draw in Miss Marvel really easily there. We already knew Miss Marvel was going to be in Marvels with
Yeah.
Captain Marvel and Photon. They've also like you said, they introduced Patrick Stewart. Spoiler, if you've not seen it, you should have by now because it's on the network.
Mhm.
But we get both Doctor. We get Reed Richards and Patrick Stewart. By the way, the casting of John Krasinski as Reed Richards is fantastic. But then we also get Patrick Stewart for them to flesh out whatever else. Which
Mhm.
made me really happy to see that they brought in Patrick Stewart as Professor X, which means you will most likely see this. So not for this show because I want to get to our actual topic, but I think our top for a future show will be if we were recasting the X-Men. So we know Professor X is already settled in as Patrick Stewart,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean we also know that at least in this version, we're not most likely getting Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Do we get a Wolverine, and is it someone different? Or do they maybe make some financial incentive to go, Hugh, you want to hit the gym up a little bit? But I just would be curious. That's got to be a lot of work to keep that physique up.
Oh yeah.
Hey Hugh, whoever your trainer is, have him give me a call.
Right.
I may be beyond help, but it would be lovely. Anyway, I think for a future show, it'd be like let's Pre-Venge the new X-Men again, keeping Professor X as Patrick Stewart and keeping Ian McKellen as Magneto and going from there. So anyway, that was just quick thoughts on that. All right.
Yeah. You know what? We'll probably do that next week.
Perfect. I
That sounds
love
like
it.
fun. A couple last things I want to update. I just want to say, Big Brother is back. Big Brother. I am a huge Big Brother fan.
Okay.
We talk about Bastards. Also, we just went to Worlds of Fun and Oceans of Fun this weekend on Saturday, and it was a good time. Worlds of Fun was way more fun than Oceans of Fun. But gotta hang out with Nicole and Anthony. Love you guys. Also, I wanted to say the best for last from my war report. Thor, Love and Thunder. And Brian, you have not got to see this yet,
I have
correct?
not gotten to see it, but please go ahead, sir.
Okay, I am not going to spoil it for you. I'm not going to go into spoiler territory for here. I'm just going to say, go see it, man. Let me know when you want to go see it. Let's go hit that up this week.
Absolutely. As soon as my back is feeling better, definitely going to see it. So I'm very excited to go see it just because you did when you sent me the GNR reference, like that's all I needed. That's all I needed.
Oh man, and the way that they put the placement of Guns N' Roses was absolutely perfect. And again, today this episode might as well be called 80s or like Headbangers Ball or something. We found our way back to Guns N' Roses.
Well, that is something that Marvel. I'm always a big soundtrack fan. I think movies. I'm a big fan of both Quentin Tarantino and James Gunn, and both of them mentioned that they that the music frames their movies. That oftentimes they will plan the soundtrack before the actual film because they will hear a scene before they see a scene. I really dig that creative process. So just in so many, even in Miss Marvel, they depend a lot of Hindi music and things from Bollywood and just a lot of those things. I just love the fact, obviously Thor has done a lot. The Guardians movies always. Those movies are just as much about their soundtracks as anything else. And again, I really want to thank James Gunn for having a Zune reference in volume 2 because I was one of those people that was not going to get an iPod, but I had a hell of a Zune, and when those became unsupported, you could ask my family. Tears were streaming down. I had the black on black brick Zune. Like, this thing was a weapon. Okay, that was my heart, and it's like, what do you mean? You're not gonna do this anymore. How dare you? So anyway.
So Brian, I know you're talking about your tears streaming. You know what else is streaming?
Here we go.
Live streaming is this on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Nice one. Nice one.
You like that? Yeah.
You may have won the Segway game this week. You may have won the Segway game. All right.
Well, that's perfect time, Brian. So what are we going to prevenge a little bit about today? What are we talking about?
Well, we say 2's company with 3's a crowd. Well, we're going to see if 3 works well for a trilogy. So first off, if anyone that's been listening to our podcast knows, we have one rule. We have very few as part of our podcast. But if this is a rule, it's more of a guideline, is that when you make a trilogy, you should really stop at 2.
Right.
So we're not big fans of the trilogy because it's just hard to do. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about some of the rules of what we think make good trilogies. I don't know about you, but I have a couple that I've sparked I think are really good trilogies. Some other things I think of when trilogies go wrong, which I think is more often than not. And then we'll just chop it up, and then obviously we'll move into our tats and our verses. So so that is the plan. Is we're going. I have a kind of a trilogy inspired pitch for you today for the variant verse. So
Very cool.
we're
Very
gonna
cool.
roll this out. So yes, so today here we go. We're gonna hit our trilogies, and the one thing that will make a trilogy good, that if if there's anything that can make a trilogy outstanding, is that if across your trilogies you have one unifying factor, and that one unifying factor is when Samuel Leroy Jackson, R.I.P. Well, not R. Oh my goodness, no, Sam, no, you're okay.
Oh,
You're okay.
man, we better
No,
we better get on
no.
Facebook right now. We better
No,
look.
my goodness, no. I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry. No, GOAT. I got my initials mixed up. My acronym is the greatest of all time. RIP. I'm sorry. No. Oh, wow. Okay. His
Oh man.
publicist is going to sue me. All right. So that's my way of saying, okay, I may be in financial straits next week for saying a very horrible thing about Sam. I'm so sorry. All right, Bradley, please take over. Save this for
All right.
myself.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I wanted to just take a look and just kind of revisit a lot of trilogies that are out there.
Let's do it.
And so I got a couple in mind that I wanted to bring up. Different kinds of trilogies, like the Toy Story trilogy. What was good and what was bad about the Toy Story trilogy?
Well, and so okay, so the good about the Toy Story trilogy is, again, in my mind, every good trilogy, every movie should be a story within itself. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's elements you can bring from movie to movie, but I think you shouldn't have to wait until the third movie for the payoff, right? So
Right.
you should be able to enjoy a movie and the story of a movie from beginning, middle, and end within itself, and they do a really good job of that with the first three Toy Stories. They set the stage with the first one, let us know about Woody and Buzz. We get more of their background, especially Woody's background in the sequel. And then, of course, the third one, we see Andy growing up and what happens with the toys from there. So it makes sense. It's a logical story. They did a great job of juxtaposing the timeless toys
Mm-hmm.
with the kids getting older. Andy going off to college by the third movie, the dog, kind of puttering around, his sister being in middle school and maybe even high school by
Mm-hmm.
the time he's going off, him driving versus that great scene at the end of the first one was he's in the car seat, in the back seat with his sister in the car seat while Buzz and RC and Woody are trying to catch up to now he drives himself. So
Yeah.
all those things are great. Those are wonderful. The bad part is they just didn't stop.
Yeah.
I mean, they just didn't stop. It's hard to count something as a really good trilogy when there's more than three movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So that they lost me a bit with that.
and that's Toy Story is probably Pixar's best at
Oh
Pixar's
yeah.
best, especially when it comes time for franchises. Although I don't know about how they're doing now with Lightyear, but that's a different story altogether. Uh,
I've not heard good things.
Me neither. Me neither. From the few people that I've talked to, they're like, "Yeah, dude, like you could probably just skip this one. This
Well, it
is
didn't
not."
help that neither Tim Allen nor Patricia, I can't think of the actor that played his wife on the Home Improvement show.
Yeah.
They were not fans that he was not cast a voice.
Yeah.
Which, but it's not. And Tim Allen is
Right.
problematic in some other ways with me, so I was
Right.
definitely okay with that. But yeah, that Patricia Richardson, I think it's her last name. But yeah,
Yeah.
she got on Twitter and was was not very happy that her friend Tim didn't get a paycheck for the new Lightyear movie. So
Yeah, yeah. Now on the opposite end of Toy Story, you're gonna go from one extreme to the other. So either the family growing. What about Aliens? Aliens, the Aliens trilogy, man. Like when I was just coming up with I'm just was thinking about all the different trilogies out there.
mhm.
Aliens, like it was like Aliens. I was trying to think of good horror trilogies. I
Yes,
didn't want to go to like Friday the 13th, and because you can't really call
yeah.
those trilogies
Because
because
again,
they're
they
gonna
go on and on and on and on.
right,
Right.
They're
Those,
movie TV
yeah,
series is what those
yeah.
are.
At this point, yeah, those are just those. That's kind of like I was a huge fan of the Saw series. Then
Mhm.
eventually Saw jumped the shark because this is just a way for you to make money every October. Which guess
Yeah,
what? That's fine. But there never will be an end, right? So because Jason, Jigsaw, Freddy can keep coming back with things in their name. So
yeah.
Um, Alien I think is the best at capturing, which again we kind of got a little bit of it when we looked with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Someone really created those two genres blended really well of sci-fi and horror,
Yeah.
and those are done so well. Now, me personally, and this may come as blasphemy, I really enjoyed the not I don't know if you call them reboots or prequels, but I really enjoyed Prometheus and Covenant. Actually, right up there with probably Alien is still my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm gonna jump to probably Prometheus. I just really like, you can't go wrong Idris Elba in my mind, but
I'm the same way.
yeah, but
Yeah.
again, very, very good movie. That just that iconic scene with the out of the stomach, and I mean, come on, with Spaceballs, pretty much just does it with the same actor. I mean, that really was not even satire. They
Oh
just
no,
redid
not
it.
again.
Yeah, it wasn't even like that. Shows you when you take them, that's vastly different genres too.
Yeah.
That show was something is really nail it when they go, we can't make this any better other than we'll make him sing and give him a top hat. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. But the actual crux of the scene, you know what? We'll just do it again. We'll just do it again. Right.
Man, staying on the horror front, would you consider Evil Dead as a trilogy with Evil Dead 1, 2, and Army of Darkness? Is that a trilogy?
No. I feel that Army of Darkness is so different. And again, of those three, Army of Darkness is my favorite.
Me too.
I think Army of Darkness is such a different vein than Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. Because those are really horror movies. Okay.
Right.
Versus Army of Darkness was really Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell going, you want to have fun for about 90 minutes? Yeah, okay, let's go do this.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't take as all the horror in Evil Dead 2 and have Bruce Campbell grab the press and go, give me some sugar, mama. And once he did the thing that we all would really do as idiot men and realized we weren't paying enough attention and just cough through the magical incantation, or Bradley, when you see the really cute maiden, you somehow slide in about your boomstick.
Yep. Oh, Bruce Campbell, we love you.
I'll never see Bruce now without wanting to give him mustard. I swear.
Oh man!
And again, if you don't get the reference, watch the movie. All right. Yeah. But again, back to your crux. That to me is not a true trilogy, just because that's the other part of a trilogy. Mm-hmm. There's got to be a theme with them. So I wanted this a little bit with Thor. Well, number one, now we've got Thor with Love and Thunder. But before we got to Love and Thunder, you had Thor, the Dark
World,
Universe,
Dark World.
Thank you. And then Thor Ragnarok. Again, kind of breaking our rules. I think Ragnarok is my favorite. In fact, I think the Thor movies have gotten better, having not seen Love and Thunder. But I have thought that the Thor movies have gotten better. Thor wasn't bad. I definitely thought Dark World was significantly better because, again, also more evil Loki, I think is better. And then I think Ragnarok, but think about the tone of Ragnarok, the music, it had a lot of humor. Jeff Goldblum, just come on, Jeff. I mean, Jeff Goldblum makes everything better. Just give me some more Jeff. Just everywhere he goes, I mean, he seriously. If we, and again, since I already prematurely declared him deceased, if something ever does happen to Samuel Jackson, when the L stands for, the next patron saint of the Pre-Venge universe is going to be Jeff Goldblum.
100%.
Absolutely.
We have had this conversation several times, especially after Jurassic World. Jeff Goldblum needs to be in every movie. I mean, that's just common knowledge.
Please, Jeff, button up your damn shirt. That's the only benefit of him as the Grand Master. He haven't given the robe. So, but I swear he had to be like, can I get a button just so I can undo it?
Yeah.
Can I get a button just so I can undo it? Okay, anyway, back to my point of the thing that I think they need to unify themselves. I even struggle with this. Again, the Thor movies calling them a true trilogy because Ragnarok is so vastly different in tone and style
It is.
than Thor and Dark World. So,
Yeah.
but back to the Evil Dead. While it is technically a trilogy, not a true trilogy in my mind.
Yeah, and there are a lot of different kinds of trilogies, especially when you're talking about different genres. I mean, like uh, uh a couple other ones that like the Hannibal Lecter trilogy.
Yes,
Silence of the Lamb.
yes.
Excuse me, Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon. What's the other one? Hannibal
And
Rising.
Hannibal, yeah, Hannibal
Yeah,
Rising, yeah.
you know,
And
and,
again, with that one, you go from Jodie Foster to Julianne Moore. I'm a huge Julianne Moore fan,
mhm,
but at that point, how similar are you calling this a true trilogy, or is it just another movie
yeah,
with the same lead, right? So yeah.
yeah. I'm with you too. And can you think of any other good horror trilogies that we need to bring up?
They actually stop at three. So okay, so I'm gonna go back on my rule because in my head the best horror trilogy, which again I will say they actually work fine going to three. They
Hmm.
shouldn't have kept going beyond that. Is
Hmm.
Scream. Scream absolutely one, two, and three. Three and again, like most things. Oh, I hear a cameo.
Actually, there's two of them. If you want here, talk in the mic. Talk in the mic. Talk in the mic.
Hi.
Hello,
That's Anna.
and that's Leia.
There we go. Hey,
Remember, I think we just found the new tagline for our show, though, dude. Peace, love, and chicken
That is
nuggets.
totally
I think
I
that
not
look.
might
true.
be.
Not true.
So, well, hey, girls, we were talking about Stranger Things earlier. So, who is your favorite character? I know yours is
Max.
11 and Max. Max, yes, yes, yes.
I was
That's your favorite
curious.
character is Max.
That might be. You know what? While it won't be. Oh gosh. Never mind. Never mind. I don't want to do it because the girls are there. But I was really thinking, that would be a great versus 11 versus Max.
I think Max is going to get a little upgrade in powers too.
No.
To have a chance. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So, we have now renamed the cat to
All right.
Darth Honey.
I can co-sign that. I will accept that.
Yep,
My name
Darth
is
Honey.
Brian Dennis, and I support that message. That works.
Yep, that's kind of what I thought too. All right, girls, say bye. Say bye.
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 All right, peace, love, and chicken nuggets.
Nuggets.
You go.
Versus love, piece of chicken grease. I dig it, sir. All right. Okay. But yeah, so again, to me, the best true horror trilogy, which again I think is so hard anymore to turn down money and opportunity, and maybe you think you got a great idea, but but again, going back to with Scream, especially Scream 1 and 2, but even the Scream 3, you kept a mostly intact. It's a horror movie, so people do, they kill them off. But even people that died off, perfect example was Jamie Kennedy. And that's how you do it. Jamie Kennedy was that unifying piece, even though again, if you've not seen it, spoiler, but watch the movies. Even though he passes in the second movie, he's still present in the third, and his rules, again, I think are what unifies it. Again, if they just should have stopped. But that to me is probably the best one. Another trilogy that again you lose people we too big of a cast change are the Mummy movies with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Okay, once you lost Rachel Weisz for the third one, it is really not, and also as those movies then became where they wanted to be spin off of other vehicles. They totally the second was totally meant to spin off. Well, it's not it was meant to, it did spin off to the Scorpion King with The Rock. And then, the Tomb of the Dragon Emperor was meant to be something really to push Jet Li. They were both the second wasn't bad. The Scorpion King movie was it happened.
Yeah, and it does not hold up.
And by the way, it seemed like I was watching an episode of Xena and Hercules. Like that's how it seemed like just a really long of those syndicated action series that they had in the 90s and early 2000s. It just seemed like a long version of one of those. There was nothing cinematic.
Yeah.
I just watched the original Mummy the Brendan Fraser original Mummy last night, and it was sweeping with all that. I'm like, there's really none of this here, like at all. Like so. Anyway, all right. So yeah, from horror, and I mean, you can go back to the Romero zombie movies, the Dawn of the Dead movie. Again, you're going to have more than three of those.
Hmm.
But again, those again at least give you a unifying thing. We at least and the unifying there is zombies. A lot of zombies, and that's how I want my I don't want my zombies smart. I don't want my zombies
Right.
human. I don't want my zombies curable. I want my horde that's coming, and they just overwhelm us just because there's so dang many of them.
Yeah, and that's the threat of we could do a whole zombie episode for sure, and I think that
Yes.
we'll probably put that one in the books. So we talked a little more about the horror. Um, let's see here, Terminator. We're getting more into like the action.
Yep.
Like you got the Terminator, you have like the superhero movies.
Hmm.
Which they're like, oh, franchise. Like, so would you consider? I'm not gonna go X-Men because they went too far with X-Men.
Right.
But
And which X-Men are you talking about? Right. So
right.
yeah.
What about Wolverine? Because he got a
Yes.
trilogy.
Yes. That will be again of the Sony. That's probably the best way of doing it. Okay, so I have some people that start listening to Pie to hear me like, we realize that you explain the difference between this because they're like, well, why is there a Quicksilver in Multiverse or this or that? Okay, so again, for anyone who's unfamiliar, again, in order for Marvel to make the current MCU, they needed money because that's how the world works. So they licensed off some of their more popular products, one of which was X-Men. So we have the Sony version of X-Men. So you have a series of movies under the Sony banner of those Sony Marvel movies. Without a doubt, the best trilogy is the Wolverine trilogy. And this one was, again, one of the rare things you see in a trilogy. It went out on a high note.
Yes.
I mean, Origins was not great. I mean, I think it got better with
Yeah.
every movie, similar to Thor. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, Origins. The fact that I liked Leah Schreiber much better.
Better
Basically,
than Taylor Dane or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, whatever his name was.
yeah. So basically, I want my Leah Schreiber either being Sabretooth or sleeping with Sidney Prescott's mom. I want one of those two. Did you like
Right.
that?
Yeah.
I put those. You like that? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm coming back to my segue title, man. I'm telling you. But then but that movie lost us when we will not speak of their version of Deadpool. We will not. Like it's not a good sign when Ryan Reynolds is like,
Yeah.
yeah. That almost made me just leave the theater. Like when they do the thing where he has no mouth. I'm like, wait, Deadpool doesn't talk. That's
Right.
like that's like giving the Hulk really good coping mechanisms. Like,
Oh my! Could you imagine Deadpool as the Hulk shrink?
yes,
I mean,
yes. And we can get that now. And we can get that now.
oh man,
Yeah, and we can get that now. By the way, real quick, I don't know why this tangent came with me. One of the great things that Miss Marvel, to jump on a real quick tangent, is when she talks about her podcast. Did you catch in the first episode where she talks about why she thinks Thor is secretly a gamer? And I go, that's so good.
I know,
That's so good.
right?
And by the way, if you follow the rumors, the rumor is that person that Thor is arguing with online, the noob, I forget the call name, but it's noob something or other, is actually Deadpool. That's a reference to a Deadpool comic. So that is
I hope
actually
that's true.
one. So just like they say, the earthquake at the beginning of Endgame under the ocean is meant to be Submariner and to bring it in the Atlanteans. So okay, anyway, back to
and they have released pictures of Namor now.
oh, have
So,
they? Okay,
yeah, yeah.
who's cast?
He's a Spanish actor.
Okay,
I can't pronounce his name. I'm not even gonna try right now.
all
He
right.
looks
He looks
amazing.
good as it. Okay.
Now they are changing it to be like Atlantis is like kind of like an Aztecian
Okay.
place in like a South American, that type of thing.
Sure.
Instead of like more like a Greek Roman thing, which after looking at the pictures, I'm like, this is gonna be really cool for Wakanda forever. This is gonna be absolutely awesome.
Not to mention the idea of we've shown that maybe changing Aquaman from a blonde haired, blue eyed surfer dude to a Samoan who is like chiseled out of stone because you're under the ocean
Yeah.
might work a little better for the presentation material. Just saying.
Right.
All right. Anyway, uh, but then you go to, uh, when he goes to Japan. I really liked that
Hmm.
movie. Again, I thought it got better, and obviously, probably the best. If you're gonna say the single best superhero action sci-fi movie as a movie
Hmm.
is Logan. There is
Oh,
no doubt in my mind how Patrick Stewart did not win an Oscar for that role is ridiculous.
yeah.
I mean, that is a great movie. If you could, if Mad Ma- if Mad Max could win an Oscar, talk about a dystopian future. Really? Did you
Yeah.
not watch Logan? And they showed the
Yeah.
action tops, and we already knew Sir Patrick Stewart. And again, Sir Patrick Stewart has, but we saw it with Hugh Jackman. I love the take on X-23.
Hmm.
There was so much great things that movie. So yeah, that probably is a much better trilogy versus the other side of the Sony trilogies, which you probably know I was going to mention this Spider-Man
Which
with
ones?
the Toby. Okay, when he's doing this in the black suit.
Yeah, yeah. I
Because we
mean,
all love our Venom that can twerk, right?
right?
That makes my Venom. That's what I want my symbiote to do. Yeah,
Oh yeah. I mean, who wouldn't?
yeah. Just. Oh,
Yeah,
Toby.
should have stopped that. Two. So, I mean, Spider-Man 2 is arguably probably one of the greatest
It
comic
is.
book
It
movies
is.
ever made.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
mean, I would put that right up there with Logan.
Yes. Yes.
Well, but Logan is great for a different reason. Like Logan is just a really good movie.
It's
Like,
a great. I mean, it's a western without being a western. It's more
yeah.
western than superhero movie. He just has bones and claws, and he's got cyborg. But it's a western.
Hmm.
I mean, it's that total. I mean, it's so much outlaw Josie Wales.
Hmm.
He's this hardened, beaten down gunslinger who wants no more fight, but the fight. Well, he doesn't want to fight, but the fight wants him.
Yeah.
By the way, another great one. Again, if you're looking for something just to binge, 10 star on Prime. Such a good one with Tim Roth. It is so
Yeah.
good.
I,
But
I've checked it out actually before. I watched like one or two episodes,
yeah,
and
it's heavy though. It's
it's
heavy.
a slow burn.
It's
So
heavy. It's real heavy.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but Logan, like I said, but back to Spider-Man 2, and probably the best villain that Marvel has ever done has been Doc Ock.
Oh yeah.
It's just both in Spider-Man 2 and again in Spider-Way No Way Home.
Mhm.
He's not really a villain in that one, but just Alfred Molina's characterization
Yeah.
is he's just such a damn good actor, which I hope means we've not seen the last of him.
Mhm.
Maybe they can bring him in some. You need a new science officer, and if Peter is now the hero that no one knows, have a team up with Octavius. Like, let's just
I'm
start
game.
our own think tank. I mean, I
Yeah.
love that. So okay, but yeah,
So I know we talked a lot about the superhero ones. While we're on that, let's talk before we get into the best trilogies. Yeah, I
hmm
think you know where that's going to go, but we got to talk about Batman because the Nolan Batman
sir,
trilogy
sir, come on, give me
is
some love.
the greatest superhero trilogy that has ever graced us and probably ever will.
Yes, absolutely. That was when I was thinking about what is going to be my greatest trilogies. A lot of time and we're not doing like an official countdown this one as much as we, but
Mhm.
my head went to what is the best. There was two sets of trilogies and what won this one over the other one was I think if we're gonna do trilogy, the third movie is what matters. I
Yeah.
would say this third movie is better than what I would put as my second favorite trilogy period of all time
Mhm.
due to the strength of the third movie, which is again, there's very few missteps in the Nolan Batman trilogy. Number one, they don't always kill off the villain.
Yeah.
They just got exemplary actors up and down. Christian Bale, Anne Hathaway, Aaron Eckhart, oh God, Tom Hardy, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman. I mean, Gary Oldman. I mean, just the names of
Mhm.
and the money and the budget and Nolan's vision and all these things, and of course Liam Neeson. I almost forgot Liam Neeson because of all the swag that all those others have, and they tied the first to the third and the third to the first, and all that, all those great things. Seriously, when you think about it, the only thing is they should have just went full Robin.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, and even then, his characterization was great.
Yeah.
It really was.
Not one person would have been mad that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was going to be Robin.
Yeah,
Not one person out
they
there
had
would have
just
mad.
named him Dick Grayson.
Yep.
They just do it.
Right.
Just go there.
Or heck,
he
even
already
Richard.
was. He was all
Richard.
Yeah. They could have even named him Richard something, and then it comes out, he was in an orphanage. He got adopted. They changed his last name.
Yeah.
Like, you're a Grayson. And those of us in the know would have probably figured it out. So what?
Mhm.
That would have just been a great deal. And again, what the best part, again, what I think to do with the trilogy is they knew when to flip and stop. And think about that last scene. He's in the bat cave. The platform is raising. The water's gushing. All these things, and it's in. So you go, does it become Batman? Does it become Nightwing? Does it become Red Robin? Does it become something else? Whatever. Like, it makes you wonder. The best part of a trilogy is it ties a bow on it, but it also makes you wish there was one more. But you don't get the one more.
Or you know what? You're like, you know what? I want there to be one more, but I'm okay if there's not.
Exactly.
Like,
I would have loved. Yeah, part of me goes, well, what happens? But it's more fun for me maybe to sit in my living room going, I wonder, or to argue on the show, like, what do you think Joseph Gordon-Levitt? I would say maybe he's Batman. He's Nightwing, and like, okay, well, how does that work either way? So those are from a superhero standpoint, and also for me personally, because you know how I feel, probably going to be my favorite trilogy of all time. But if not, by any measure, the Nolan Batman is right there, counted with, again, at least the third of the Wolverine trilogy, Logan. Just, pardon me, just really, really good movies that also happen to have some areas that are fantastic as part of it.
Yeah, so with the Nolan verse, I think it's probably the third or fourth greatest trilogy that's ever come out. We got to talk about the big ones now. We'll talk Star Wars, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, and Lord of the Rings as well. But again, Indiana Jones are better as like one-off movies that are.
Indiana Jones really is, again. I think Indiana Jones again gives you that reason of it would have been great. First off, everything I said about the trilogy I think is true. They're great one-off movies. Like you don't. I actually wound up seeing just because I actually wound up seeing Temple of Doom in the theater, but I didn't see Raiders of the Lost Ark. I actually saw Raiders after Temple of Doom, and I saw Raiders on television. And then there was just so much time.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a good point for having time. We talked about it with Top Gun, that sometimes you can make the time really work for you. Sometimes you can make what a time doesn't matter, such as with the Incredibles sequel. Even though it was well over a decade, because it's animated and people's voices stuck together, you could just have it really be the very next day. But between, Temple of Doom and
Last Crusade.
Yeah, just and then again, didn't stop.
Right.
Then you're gonna give us the King of the Crystal Skull.
And then they're still not stopping.
No. And I'm sorry, this is one of and I think Shia LaBeouf has gone the way of Miles Teller in that most things he's in now are really good. But I was sitting there just like, this is a kid from the Even Stevens. Like, why is he here?
Yeah.
Why is Shia here? Like, so.
But like along with that, you do have those great trilogies that are, Back to the Future, Lord of the Rings,
Yes.
and so I there's a part of me that wants to say The Hobbit, but The Hobbit should not have been a trilogy. It
That's
should
the
have
whole
just been
point. That's the
one,
whole point.
one,
Yeah.
one, maybe two movies could have
Yeah.
been that.
That's because you can make something 3 movies doesn't mean it needs to be 3 movies. Yes.
Correct, but I mean the greatest of all the trilogies
Yeah.
will always be the original trilogy, Star Wars.
It will. I will give you Star Wars over Batman, but we got to stop before we go there. We do have to mention, because as I was thinking about it, I will give you, because again, just because I get a little iffy with Star Wars, got a problem where I go for
Right,
in a
right.
minute,
Yeah.
but we haven't mentioned it. We got to mention Godfather. We have to mention Godfather.
Yep.
But again, 3.
Yeah.
And it's not that 3's bad, but 1 and especially 2 were so damn good.
Yeah, the bar got set too high.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like if everyone's getting A pluses and you come in with an A minus, it's like, well, did you even study?
Right.
Like it's still. I mean, if that, I mean, it's a good movie. Them they started taking themselves a little too seriously.
Mhm.
Like they're saving the Pope. Like it's like, okay, sure, you are gangsters in New York, but you're gonna save the Pope. It was great. I mean, they did do the great thing. I mean, Pacino's Pacino. We all probably can recite that line. Every time I think I'm out, it drives me back in. They gave us a lot of that. They gave us, Michael's death. They gave the passing of the torch and the new Godfather and all these sorts of things. It just was not as good as the first two. Again, especially two. I mean, there's very few sequels that you talk about that the second is so damn good. Spider-Man 2 and Godfather 2 are probably the best examples.
Mhm.
And of course,
Empire Strikes
I
Back.
was getting there, and of course Empire. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so Godfather's lost us a bit, but you're right. Overall, well, let me ask you. Oh, hang on. Now I gotta draw a little bit of a line in the sand with you, sir. I'm gonna quit rambling. Do you think Star Wars is the best trilogy? Okay, when you say, because number one, a couple things is there's now been 9 of them.
Right.
So can you have, so now we have a trio of trilogies.
A trilogy of trilogies, yeah.
Yeah, and we started in the middle, and then went to the beginning, then jump to the end.
Yeah.
But then the other piece of it is Star Wars the best, meaning episodes 4, 5, 6, or is it the most popular? Because those are not necessarily the same things.
You know what? I will say yes and yes, just because without 4, 5, 6, you don't get half of the other trilogies that we mentioned.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, like,
Sure.
I mean, you don't get the Raimis, you don't get, you don't get those
yeah.
amazing actors.
Yeah.
And Godfather, there's so many years between all the Godfather movies.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Star Wars that really brought in the blockbuster movie, like they changed cinema.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
As far as the prequel and the trequel,
Yeah, we had people. That's when we first started. People taking like days off work,
right,
to go to a movie. Like, yeah, my kid can miss school because we're going to see and the fact that it took merchandising, to a whole nother. Because in no world do the Ewoks win toys other than having all the Star Wars. But I also got a little issue because the Ewoks were successful. Damn it, it gave us Jar Jar Binks. That's why I will always have issues with the Ewoks.
Yeah,
because it made them think Jar Jar was okay. And again, there's nothing okay about Jar Jar Binks. George Lucas, George, we know you're listening. It's Brad, Brian, and George right now.
Right.
BBG. Nothing is okay about Jar Jar.
You should have made him a Darth Lord. He should. Yeah. Jar Jar should be a Darth Lord.
It was right there. It was right there.
Man.
Give us Darth Reggae and just keep it going. All right, yeah, okay.
Oh man, so let's put a pin in the trilogies. Anything we didn't talk about of trilogies that you want to make sure we mention?
I mean, I think we've hit on a lot of them. We didn't mention the diehards, which again, I think, because again, went well beyond three, but I think you just go Die Hard, Die Hard 2, and Die Hard with the Vengeance.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Again, another great trilogy that is enhanced by the presence of one Samuel Jackson with an L
Mhm.
stand. So, my favorite line ever. While most people say their favorite line from Die Hard is "Yippee ki yay," mine is from Die Hard with the Venom. He goes, "That's a white man with white man problems." I love that. That always cracks me up. And we didn't talk again about Lethal Weapon. Again, they
Yeah.
kept going.
Yeah.
But again, Lethal Weapons 1, 2, and 3 was great. As much as I think he's incredibly funny, Chris Rock does not make anything better when it comes to a movie.
Yeah.
Other than Dogma, I will say he made Dogma really good. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we're getting Clerks 3 now, so I mean,
I saw that. I saw that. Which
and it looks clever. It's clever.
yes, Kevin Smith. Sometimes I feel Kevin Smith makes moves for Kevin Smith,
And as
and
he should.
and sometimes I think he's entertained by things where I'm sitting there going, I mean, that's cute,
Right.
but I mean,
The
that's cute.
Walrus? I mean, Justin
But
Long, the
I would
Walrus
definitely
man?
be there. I would definitely be there for Clerks 3. All right. Yes, that
Absolutely.
was fun, sir. That was fun.
Yes. Oh, you know what? One that we forgot to talk about, Austin Powers.
No, because I hated the third one. I hated the third
Gold
one
member
so
was
much.
bad. Gold
I
member was
hate
better.
it. Yeah. I mean, I want him to just give me more Fat Bastard. You know? Okay. And again, fantastic singer, Beyonce, other than Dreamgirls. Definitely didn't help with Goldmember. And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know if you've seen the live action Lion King. She oversings. I am definitely no one wants to hear me sing. Beyonce, Jay-Z. Okay, we know y'all run Black Universe here. Okay, so please don't kick me out the cookout. Okay, don't Black Twitter. Don't come at me. Okay, all right. But just maybe, just maybe Beyonce. Maybe we don't gotta have runs on every verse. Just maybe. Hey, that's your boo. But just still a fan of Blueprint. It's my album, okay? But just that's all I'm saying. Okay, Black Twitter, I'm still good, right? Look, still part of the team. Okay, okay, all right. So
Blame
let's
it on
save.
me.
Yeah, okay.
It was me.
Black Twitter is the dude in the driver's cap. He made me do it.
Yep, it was me.
Said it under duress. Okay. Dictated, not read from the management. All right, get us out of here, sir. All right.
Oh, before we all right, before we get into verse mode, you got a tap for me, and I want to hear this.
I did. So my thing about this, I've got a pitch regarding our variant verse. So since we've not done one of these for a few weeks, so Brad and I are doing our best to kind of creating our own universe. We started off with the idea of the variant verse. The variant verse is an idea where a large section of the world passes away on what's called Shattered Earth Day, where a superhero actually burns out his powers, holding stopping a global disaster. But what it does, it literally breaks the planet. It also burns out his powers. And we have different people that now live in this variant verse. So here is my pitch for a new character with the variant verse, very much inspired by our current topic of the day of trilogies. Is going to introduce the character known as Triad. Triad also is most definitely inspired by one of our favorite movies on Netflix, The Atom Project. So, on Shattered Earth Day, a young man who I'm going to name, and I've been playing with his name a little bit. So I think what I'm going to name him is going to be Oliver Rogers. So I thought you might like that.
Oh yeah.
So taking Oliver Rogers, and one of the things that happens on Shattered Earth that Oliver Rogers' powers begin to manifest themselves, and what his natural power is time travel. He can try and travel within his own lifetime. But due to all the trauma of the Shattered Earth Day, when he initially tries to blink himself into different parts of life, what he accidentally does, he creates three alters of himself that now exist in the current timeline. So he has himself as Oliver Prime, who is 12 years old. He has adult Oliver, who is going to be him at 30 years old, and then who they're called Oliver Sr. or the old man, which is him at 60 years old. All right. So because each of these between Oliver adult and Oliver old or Oliver Sr., just they came from different points of the timeline, they have different ways of thinking about his life, and they've been brought back to this moment. So what they now exist is they are trying to again save the world from some type of apocalyptic future. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. Between the adult Oliver and Oliver Sr., there's a disagreement over what causes a future apocalypse. And in one future, Oliver, the older Oliver, while he is a superhero, Oliver Sr. is a super villain.
Ooh.
And they understand that the only way they can ever get back to their perspective timeline is to get Oliver Prime to unlock his powers and send them back. So you have the underlying current of Oliver Sr., who is taken as he's the ultimate, he's seen the most of the timeline,
Mhm.
he's been able to give us this. In his future, he's a megalomaniac who actually rules the earth. So he's trying to create a future where he does not lose his overlord of the world. He's actually going to be the ultimate villain of the variant verse. So he now has been cast back, minus powers, minus the outfit, all the alter ego, but with still the evil, still the megalomania, still the knowledge. So you see them as a team attempting to navigate the worlds, get themselves back to their own timeline, while one of them, though, is still the ultimate villain that they're not aware of. And over time, do they become aware? So the comic or this part of the variant verse has to be called Stages of Me.
Mhm.
And you have again the character who we're gonna call Triad, who again, you have him at 12, have him at 30, have him at 60, and between 30 and 60, we don't know. Because the other side with this, because in my head, I always see these as like Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
We're going to get flashbacks and we're going to see slowly what happens between 30 and 60 that takes, again, a hero. He was a superhero and turns him into the world's greatest supervillain. So that's my pitch for Stages of Me. What do you think?
Dude, that's freaking amazing. I love it, man. You could even do like a big part of the movie in each timeline, and then at the
Hmm.
end it goes into, the setting back. Dude, that's clever. I love it, man.
Yes.
We definitely got to get working on that stuff.
Absolutely, because
Uh
I really see that as like again when we look at so I like the idea of them also having because all of them going to be Oliver, right? So we'll call like again the kid because we're in his side we'll call him Prime. I like calling the old man seniors. I'm playing with the idea what the middle one could be called, like maybe Oliver next, Oliver adult,
mhm.
whatever. But I like the idea of maybe the 30-year-old because the 12-year-old is going to ask for the 30-year-old who's got to take more of the fatherly role. But then that 30-year-old, because he's an adult, maybe starts to get, what you're into. Because again, that puts again the reason that I made Oliver Sr. the villain is his normal thing would be he just kill
Mhm.
his enemies. But he can't do that. Because if he kills either younger version of him,
He doesn't.
he ceases to exist.
Yeah.
But he also has to have the things that happen to the 30-year-old Oliver actually happens, so he becomes the Oliver senior Oliver. So he's got to make sure that the time. So again, the trauma that breaks him, he almost needs to ensure that it
Mhm.
happens. So I just think it makes him a very convoluted character and for his motivation. So you have to have someone actually trying to create their own trauma and all the horrible things that happen to them. So they again can be because he's very happy as a supervillain. So I think it'd be really cool to play with that and different ideas of these. So that's one of so we do got to get together and get some flesh these out a little bit more. But that's totally my new one inspired by the trilogy of the triad character in Stages of Me.
I like it, man. What about Oliver Present?
Hmm.
Oliver Present.
Well, Oliver Present would be the same Oliver Prime. So, but we can go Oliver Prime, Oliver Future, Oliver Old, or Oliver Senior. So Oliver. So we got Prime, Future, Senior. Yeah, I like that. Prime, Future, Senior. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's get into our verse mode. So
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
it's time for verse mode. This is where we take two characters of awesomeness and we
Yes.
tell you the story and how they meet, why they fight, and who would win. Every week,
Absolutely.
Brian and I are going to bring in our own characters. We will not tell each other whose characters are what. Now, the only stipulation that we did put on this is they have to be talked about in the episode. We talked about trilogies where there is pretty much you can do about anything here.
Right.
Brian, my character, I'm gonna go first on this one. I
Okay.
am bringing in one Ash from the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness franchise.
Thank you. Well, my character I already mentioned, but thanks to your lovely daughter, she was mentioned again. So Ash's opponent in this versus battle will be the one, the only. You may call her Jane, you may call her Elle, but you know who she really is.
Matt.
That is.
I want to win.
That is number 11 from Stranger Things. Hey, be careful because just to let you know, if it wasn't going to be 11, it was going to be Homelander. So, so I think Ash is better off with 11. That's all I'm saying.
I think Ash would actually probably want to take Homelander out for drinks.
I think him and Homelander might actually get along.
Right? I think Ash might be somebody that Homelander actually likes.
I mean, let's be real. Ash, for all of his flaws, does do fairly well with the ladies, and Homelander could be like, Ash would be a great wingman for the guy that can fly. I think that would be the irony of that,
Oh man. So, all right, Brian. So in my brain, they would definitely meet at Hawkins.
Yes.
At this point, Ash now. Ash is probably a little past his prime.
Yep.
If Ash really ever had a prime.
Yeah.
And he definitely has his readily available. He's got his chainsaw hands.
Mm-hmm.
However,
and his
flask. However, if Ash cannot get 11 to like him within the first minute,
yes,
Ash is going to be dead.
Yes.
I don't think this is going to go good in my favor. I think they're going to meet. I think that 11 will be kind of curious and want to figure out if he is a good guy or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think not only will Ash be there, but there will be a horde of zombies as well.
Well, because again, if you've seen the end of Stranger Things, that could really be what happens next.
I mean, I actually want to see these two team up more than fight each other, but this is verse mode.
Yeah. And So this is how I see it playing out, at least to start the battle off. So
let's do it.
Okay, so here's how it basically works. So we get to the end of Stranger Things season 4, and we know something's up. Hawkins against whatever happened at the end of season 4 has happened. I mean, not some spoiler alert. But then we got some folks that there's a new store that opens up, and it is Smart. That is right. Shop Smart, shop S Smart. And so the manager of S Smart, again, is Ash. And he sees a very lovely looking Winona Ryder, and he just can't help himself. So he's hitting on her, and she's doing her best to kind of, be nice in the situation, but Ash has never been the most PC guy in the world.
No.
And at some point, he's gonna hit on her in the general presence of our buddy Hopper, and he and Hopper. By the way, David Harbour, we love you as Hopper. We hate you as Hellboy. So,
it's true.
Just again, we know you listen. I don't know why I keep coming. That's one of my favorite actors and actresses in this one. But again, Jay-Z, Beyonce,
Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay, yeah, all right. Black Twitter's gonna hate me. All right. Anyway, so him and Hopper get into it. He accidentally, because Hopper is still recovering from his trials in Russia. So in all this, he accidentally injures Hop. So 11 sees this, and so she sees she sees her father hurt. She sees Ash as a threat to the relationship. She's still trying to fix things. She just wants one time, just one time her family to be together again. So in her mind, she's going to get rid of the problem, and the problem, unfortunately, is our buddy Ash.
And actually, these two are actually a pretty good combination because this is like season 4 takes place in 1986.
Yep.
So that happens after Evil Dead 2, but
Yep.
before Army of Darkness.
Absolutely.
So Ash would be working in a hardware store, probably pretty similar to Hawkins,
Absolutely.
Indiana.
Yep.
You know what, man? I think you are exactly right. I do think 11 is going to end up beating this. I think that after Ash gets his, have we decided, are we going to swear in this podcast?
We can swear, it's fine.
All right. After Ash gets, after Ash gets,
I think you just did it, yeah.
Right. I think that he's gonna come up and see that 11 is kicking the crap out of all the zombies, and there will be an ultimate team up.
Yeah.
But
and remember, we said fight. They don't have to kill each other.
Right.
So she's going to do what she does. She's going to wipe the floor with Ash. But one of the great things in the Evil Dead movie, especially Army of Darkness, and in Ash versus the Evil Dead, the series is when all else fails, Ash rallies. He really does. So you can see, again, if the zombies have come to Hawkins or Hawkins adjacent, and you've got Hop and Dustin and Will and Mike, and by the way, whoever is cutting Will's hair, stop it,
man! What do they do to that poor boy?
Well, okay, again, real quick tangent. The one thing, my one criticism, again, for folks that have not seen all Stranger Things, seriously don't listen to this one quick part of it. Why didn't they just pull the trigger with Will telling Mike how he feels? Like it was there. It was so there. It was so, and by the way, his acting is, I think he might be, after Dustin, he might be the best actor of that group. I just love Dustin so much. But It's like, just go there. Anyway, so they're all in danger, and all of a sudden, again, maybe what we see is Ash standing there with the chainsaw hand on one arm, and then the Book of the Dead in the other.
Necronomicon.
The Necronomicon, right? By the way, the Necronomicon versus the Darkhold. Which one you read?
Darkhold.
Boom. Okay. Because again, that cool kind of black fingernail thing.
Right.
But the third eye was kind of messing me up. Okay. And then Ash teams up. By the way, could you think if there's anything that can make Hawkins, Indiana, and Stranger Things even better? All joking aside, if they could work in, it would not be Ash, right? Obviously, because of copywriting. But if they could, I mean, come on, he fits perfectly. Meaning, Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
Bruce Campbell fits. I mean, he's such an '80s icon anyway. And they try and capture with Matthew Modine and Matthew Broderick.
Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser, excuse me.
Yeah.
Paul Reiser, who Matthew Broderick is looking more and more like Paul Reiser. And of course, Winona Ryder. I mean, they have so many great folks from those '80s. Why not just bring in Bruce Campbell as something?
I mean, and we talk about it pretty often. Like, Bruce Campbell is one of our go-to people. We love Bruce. He is in that same character levelization as Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, I mean, our Mount Rushmore, we pretty got 3 of the 4 heads up there. We've got Samuel Jackson, we've got Jeff Goldblum, we've got Bruce Campbell, and at some point, I think that's the way we talk about, we're going to hit number 4. I mean, that really is our Pre-Venge Mount Rushmore of, if you just can put these 4 folks in any film, forget it, it'll probably bomb because we don't write movies. But I think we both love this. We just go and watch it, like just go do you. So
yeah. Man, you know, when you start talking about Will's haircut, it's funny you said that because uh, I cannot stand that character because of the haircut.
Because it's not, because at first I thought it was like ironically bad, like
Yeah,
someone's gonna say something and then it's gonna give him like a cool cut, you know. But like it's done on. I mean, at this point, again, 4 seasons, it's done completely on purpose, and it's just a bad. Like it's almost like the writers are going, the writers, producer, whoever's idea that he's characterized with that haircut is just like, well, let's just do it. Like,
yeah.
let's a middle finger to the fans. We're like, yeah, there we
Oh,
go.
man, so bad. All right, now let's go ahead and start moving on a little bit here from
Yes,
first.
sir.
That was fun. I think we'll tweak it up a little bit here and there. And you know what? If you're listening to or if you're watching our live stream here, let us know who should we fight, who should we bring into this verse mode.
Absolutely.
We have a special thanks I would like to talk about here for a minute. Stacy Jones, thank you for leveling up. You're awesome and being a fan of the podcast.
Absolutely.
Now, Brian, where can we find you?
Well, I will be hiding out from Black Twitter. So I will be from a disclosed location. Or I'll be in the Matrix,
he already killed Samuel Jackson.
but not Lawrence Fishburne.
But
Come on, Morpheus. Okay,
right,
yeah.
right.
By the way, I would have actually figured out how to put Morpheus in, but after watching the fourth one, maybe not.
Right.
Okay, which we actually did mention the Matrix. Also, not a bad trilogy. Should have probably started at one though.
Correct.
Anyway, with that being said, you can find me on Facebook, Brian Stephen Dennis on Facebook. Give me a like, give me a follow. I usually talking about anything and all things similar to our podcast, and we'll just keep the lightness coming, folks. Come level up your awesome on Facebook.
You can tweet at me at Fandemic3, message me on Facebook at Fandemic. Now also active on TikTok at the Fandemic1. You can hear my reviews and so much more. I've been absent a lot lately, and I'm trying to definitely cure that. Personally, lost my job, been kind of down, so I'm really trying to get over that hump. Got some interviews and stuff on the way, but so more to come on that if you care. Now, if you would like to support the show, there are several ways to do so. One, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thefandemic. Anything that we get is going to go back into this for other things. You can go to anchor.fm/pvotn, PayPal or Venmo at Bradley Butan, or just share the show with someone you want to make a little more awesome. Now, also, don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the button or hit the bell on YouTube. All right, now, Brian, I think we are at max levels of awesome for the week.
We have succeeded the mission. Yes, we understood the assignment. Yes, sir.
All right, let's end like we always like to end, on a positive note. What are your words of wisdom?
My words of wisdom: remember, Goonies never say die, and no retreat, no surrender.
We're all playing the same game in life, just on a different level. Thanks for catching up. You're welcome for leveling up your awesomeness. Live free or die empty, friends. Have a good day.